Righty, all yours, ma'am.
Hello. Hello, everyone. We'll be starting. I think it's 2:01, 2:02 we'll start while everyone gets sort of seated. And I'm Soma Chakrabarti, and we'll have a wonderful, wonderful webinar with two extraordinary people presenting their thoughts on transforming engineering education for social and environmental impact. Okay, it's 2:02. Let's get started. Before I introduce our panelists or presenters, I want to first thank Linda Thurman. Linda from University of North Carolina and Charlotte for organizing this. And we have organized it from the Board of College Industry Partnerships Division of American Society for Engineering Education. And I'm an advisor to the board, but had been in the board, still a member, and I am also a member of CPDD and Materials Division, and have been working on engineering education for a long, long time. So this is one of my favorite topic. I also would like to tell you that please keep your the speaker button in mute. When we finish both the presentations, I will have some questions, but that is the time we are open for all the questions. So please write your questions, and I'm sure you will have, and we will ask those questions to the presenters, and as much as they can, they will answer. Our first presenter will be Cindy Cooper on the topic Transforming Engineering Education for Social and Environmental Impact. Cindy is a Senior Program Officer of the Lemelson Foundation and a leader of Engineering for One Planet. And with that, Cindy, I am going to stop share, and you will be actually now sharing your slides. And to all the attendees, just wanted to tell you that this is being recorded. For the people who couldn't attend for one reason or other, they will be able to listen. Stop share.
Thank you, Soma. Thank you very much. And thank you all for coming. Thanks, Linda and Magda. I'm really excited to be here with you all. I know everyone is super busy, so to have you here in attendance live is a real treat, and I'm really excited to have the chance to share some information with you. And even better will be to be able to engage with you, interact with you, and see what questions you have and what I don't necessarily share. So until you ask me. So let me get my slides. Okay, and get started. So I just want to tell you a little bit about me. I'm, I like to say I'm an engineering fan, but I'm not an engineer. I'm a senior program officer at the Lemelson Foundation. I've been there for about 7.5 years, and I have the amazing privilege of supporting and leading the Engineering for One Planet initiative that I'll be telling you about. Prior to Engineering for One Planet, I was hired at the foundation to lead our invention education work in higher ed. So that plays a role in my next slide I'll tell you about in a little bit. But I have this slide here just to show you some of the things I really care about. I grew up in the US and Brazil. I'm Brazilian on my mom's side, American on my dad's. And really my happiest and earliest memories have to do with nature, being, with ghost crowds on the beach, being out in the world. I think it's just so beautiful and inspiring to have the world that we have. And my happiest and early memories are all related to that. And so the work I do today is about that love. It's really about wanting to cherish, protect, and perpetuate the beauty and wonder of our world. But, of course, we know that there are things that are not going so well for the world around us and for ourselves. Climate change, environmental degradation, pollution, all kinds of things. The way that I cope with all of that and the sadness that can come from realizing that there's a lot of difficult things before us is that I work to try to make it better. And so for the past 25 years, I've broadly been working in using innovation, entrepreneurship, educational transformation for positive impact. And after getting my MBA, I started a social venture. It was the first Spanish tutoring company to offer Spanish by video conferencing back in 2004, which then kind of led me into this education path and an opportunity to teach social entrepreneurship at Portland State University. I'm based in Portland, Oregon. That led to getting a grant from the Lemelson Foundation. And then, like I said, a few years ago, actually getting hired to work at the Lemelson Foundation, where I work in higher ed transformation. So I really believe our actions matter, and I feel optimistic that together we can do a lot to change things. And I am a firm believer that agency is the antidote to despair. So what's the Lemelson Foundation? Some of you may not be familiar. It's a private family foundation based in Portland. And the mission of the foundation is improving lives through invention. We've been around for over 30 years. The foundation was started by an inventor named Jerome Lemelson and his wife, Dorothy. They were really, really passionate about ensuring that we could support the next generation of inventors and really believed in the power of invention and inventors to improve our world. Jerry himself was incredibly gifted. He had over 600 patents, and he was an independent inventor in all kinds of areas. I won't get into all of that, but just really an impressive, unique person. One of the things that he also believed in was fostering the next generation of collegiate inventors. And so if some of you have heard of VentureWell was also the brainchild of Jerry Lemelson. So he actually, created the foundation and also kind of was, the first person to launch VentureWell before it was called that. So they've, Jerry's no longer with us. He and Dolly are no longer with us, but their family still very much firmly believes in supporting that next generation. So you see that in our continued support of VentureWell. And I know Magda knows VentureWell because she's worked with them and been a grantee of VentureWell. But if you don't know them and you're interested in bringing entrepreneurship and invention into your programs in universities and colleges, please go visit their website. There are grants, there are amazing events, there's support for student startups as well. So I'm talking about Engineering for One Planet, and this program is about the change that we're seeking to create in engineering education so that all engineers are equipped with skills, knowledge, and understanding to protect and improve our planet and our lives. And that's because all engineers impact our world. So it's not just something that specialized engineers do. Any engineering activity can impact the world, and some of those activities can impact the world for many, many, many decades. So it's really important that engineering can be seen through that lens of a role in creating these broader impacts. And we want to make sure that the solutions of today don't become the problems of tomorrow. The ultimate vision would be for sustainability to just be how engineering is done, that it's, again, not a separate thing, it's just how engineering is practiced. So where did this come from? As I said, I was hired at Lemelson to oversee invention education in higher ed. And in that work, we intersected a lot with students, amazing, brilliant students who were inventing things. And often they were coming from engineering. And they often didn't have much exposure to things like sustainable design or, systems thinking and things like that, even though they were trying to change the world through their inventions. So that led to some steps that we took in terms of creating tools for the invention programs that we supported through our grants, some inventing green tools and things like that. But it also got us thinking about, well, what is going on upstream? We're seeing the result of students who have been doing engineering, they're creating these amazing things. But it seems like, they're not getting exposed to these concepts earlier in their education. Is that true? And why is that? And should it be like that? So that's kind of what catalyzed what is now Engineering for One Planet way back in 2017. And we worked for a few years just to understand the whole landscape, doing a lot of research and stakeholder engagement with hundreds of folks. And then we partnered with VentureWell to kind of launch Engineering for One Planet in 2020. But we always say we don't own EOP, and everything that you see in Engineering for One Planet is informed by stakeholders. It's all shaped by the community. So it's not Lemelson's EOP, it's not VentureWell's EOP. It's really a reflection of what is needed, what is happening, change that is happening in our world. We're always working with others to shape EOP. So it's here, it's free, it's open source, and it's just meant to make it easier for everyone. So why is change needed? I think we probably all know, that we're living in a pretty precarious time, that climate change is becoming more strikingly obvious in terms of the impacts it's going to have on us, because it's starting to show up more frequently and more severely. But it's not the only issue. There's also pollution, toxicity, loss of plants and animals. Those are some of the other issues. Sometimes they're related to climate, sometimes they're not. And these are all really man-made. A lot of this is a result of things that we're putting into the world. So, we need to do something, and we need to act quickly. And it's also important to remember that a lot of these things that our world is facing, that we're facing in the world, are impacting some populations more severely than others. So, the way that I think of this is environmental issues are social issues. And there are special social things that we need to think about, when we're acting in the world. Sometimes it's not just thinking about the impact on nature, but then, hey, what's that going to do to health, and who's that going to impact the worst? And how do we bring that into our thinking? Some other trends: corporations are really waking up to the realization that, here they've made a lot of commitments to sustainability and climate, but they do not have the people to actually enact them. So they're starting to really see this problem of a green skills gap. And then our young people are heavily invested in ensuring that their education and their careers are making a difference, are in the realm of climate and sustainability. I won't go read through all of this, but there's a lot of research out there showing how much demand there is among young people to be part of the solution. I won't go into, again, all of the things, but here is just a slide that kind of encapsulates some recent research on this green skills gap, and the fact that the lack of people prepared to operate on climate and environmental and social issues is a barrier. We need to accelerate the preparation of our people. Now, why specifically engineering? I've kind of already touched on this, massive potential impact and direct impact on society and the environment, but it also has so much opportunity. There's so much scale and reach and potential for doing something about the problems that we face. Engineers are key to innovating amazing solutions, but they need the right knowledge and skills. So it's a really important place to focus. And we also don't want to just sprinkle changes here and there. Really are trying to get to this area, this place of transformation. So we ask ourselves in our community, how might we go from changing engineering courses, one or two here and there sprinkled about, to changing the course of engineering, to really trying to reach that vision of, that it's a core tenet of how the profession is practiced. This is, a systems change depiction. Donella Meadows is an expert was an expert who talked a lot about this, the leverage points in a system for transformation. And the ambition of Engineering for One Planet really requires this systems change approach. So it's trying to get higher and higher, to the right of this. Not just the small changes that we can see, like, hey, this class now has sustainability topics woven into it, but really aiming for kind of that top tier of changes in how we think and believe, and what do culturally we expect to happen through engineering. And to do that, we need both bottom-up and top-down approaches. So we need to support the curricular change, work with faculty, support faculty, but we also need to work from the top down on things like engaging industry and generating demand, and supporting changes, elevating recognition, of really cool and effective approaches. Making this part of curricular strategy and institutional strategy. All of that is important. And, I will say it's a very ambitious and aspirational goal that Engineering for One Planet has. And a clear aspect of this is that we recognize no single initiative can do everything, but we are seeing a lot of results. So we get pretty excited that even just one initiative can have an impact, and we invite everyone to be part of the change. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of the approach and impact that we've had. So in Engineering for One Planet, again, informed through a lot of engagement with our community, a lot of work on the front end to define the theory of change and the strategic approaches of the initiative, we came up with kind of these three key areas. They're all interrelated. So first is developing and disseminating teaching tools, kind of using common language. What is it that students need to learn? And that's coming from this Engineering for One Planet framework. It summarizes this menu of learning outcomes in different topic areas, and it becomes kind of the cornerstone of other tools that help faculty bring the learning outcomes into their courses. Then number two, helping faculty to make those changes. So investing in change, providing grants, providing training, working with students to create changes in education. And then three, collaboration. We have to work together. We're not going to get to these goals working in isolation. We need to accelerate the work and figure out, which roles we can play to work together, but also to address the levers that we're best equipped to address. And different actors in the system can address those levers in different ways. These are some of the key metrics I mentioned there. There's already a lot of progress. We launched in 2020, right at the start of the pandemic. At that time, the launch was the draft EOP framework, the first EOP framework, these learning outcomes that I mentioned, and then 5 pilot grants. These were small 2-year grants to test the framework and curricular change. And we picked institutions that had really cool ideas for how they were going to do that. And they were all a little bit different in different geographies and things like that. We learned a lot through the first 2 years. And now at this point, we can say that, there are over 1,400 community members involved in EOP, 150 direct contributors to the EOP framework. So again, the community has helped to actually create that document. It's not us just writing this. It's been an open source approach. We've had over 50 grantees and awardees. That funding has reached 16 minority-serving institutions, including 5 HBCUs, over 300 faculty, over 300 courses, over 19,000 students and counting. This year, we launched the first Innovation and Sustainability Award with ABET. And then this year, we also launched a Dear Colleague collaboration with the National Science Foundation. And the first 5 awardees of that collaboration were announced in August. We also have an EOP network where we bring people together to collaborate who are from different backgrounds and sectors. And there are 100 members of that network now. The EOP framework, you can get more information through this QR code, but again, it's the what. This was the first question stakeholders asked was, well, okay, we agree, this needs to be taught, but what is it? What is the thing that students learn? So the framework is a menu of 93 learning outcomes in 9 topic areas that were identified by experts, by academics, by industry professionals and others as the most kind of important and critical. And then we very, soon after creating the what is it that students need to learn, faculty asked, well, okay, but how do I teach it? And so we've created teaching guides that there are a variety of them, and in different ways, they show step-by-step ways to bring the topics and the specific learning outcomes into curricula. And these are all free and easy to download. You don't even have to give us your name or anything like that. Soma had asked me as we were talking about this session, well, what do we mean by social and environmental sustainability in the EOP framework? Here you see this graphic. These are the 9 topic areas in the framework. And so under each one, there are specific learning outcomes. And so you've probably heard of things like triple bottom line or people, planet, profit. And our framework really kind of means the same thing, and just more specifically identified into these topic areas and then these learning outcomes. But these are all interrelated. Like I said at the beginning, environmental issues are social issues. There are social issues that need to be considered, even independent of the environmental issues. So there's a lot there to unpack in the framework, and I won't get into all of it. But just to say, these are on an even plane. It's not just like, oh, okay, there's some environmental thing that is completely separate. They're part of the system. This is an example of how this focus on environment and sustainability in a real world project might play out. I won't go into all of it, but I thought it was a pretty cool example out of Seattle, a water utilities project. And so they talk about how the environmental sustainability, they're reducing water pollution, managing stormwater. There are now urban trees. They're using low or non-toxic materials. Those things also lead to social sustainability, like, of course, improved water quality, improved health and safety for people using the water, reduction of destruction through flooding and things like that. But they've also thought of things like putting in public art installations by diverse local artists to really celebrate the local communities. That doesn't really have an environmental implication, but it's something that they also considered as important to bring about through their project. I on this slide kind of talk about, when we say sustainability, it's this massive thing, and we talk about, well, what's essential? What do we mean by closing the green skills gap? What are the green skills? There are all kinds of things. With engineering for one planet, we're really kind of operating here in this foundational area. What is it all engineers would benefit from knowing, and that we're trying to bring into engineering education. A tier above that might look like discipline-specific technical expertise. This is going to vary, and I don't think engineering for one planet can deliver on all the discipline-specific technical expertise, but it provides that foundation so you can just start building on that. An example might be, okay, well, we're working on a green bridge, we're working a bridge. What materials should go into that bridge for the technical specifications, but that also minimize the potential negative impacts, to maximize like materials from a green standpoint. And then deep technical expertise could look like, well, how do we invent a better battery for EVs? That's going to require some really, really deep technical expertise. That's not what EOP does, but it makes it easier to get to that technical expertise because people are coming in with a foundation and shared understanding of general sustainability and climate literacy. Like I said, that's the EOP framework, 93 learning outcomes, 9 topic areas. It's mapped to ABET requirements. So it's really easy to figure out if you're going through accreditation, which learning outcomes will help you with your ABET accreditation, also mapped to the UN SDG 12. We also use Bloom's taxonomy in the language, again, all informed by stakeholder input. Some other things worth mentioning, money. This is that second category, investments and change. There's the ASEE mini grant program. This program will be seeking applicants very soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'll share ways that you can get that. You can get it through the ASEE website as well as through updates that EOP publishes, like on LinkedIn and our newsletter. The ABET prize, that will be, the application for that will be in April. We'll be due in April. So if you want to win that prize, be on the lookout for that. We're going to be launching faculty trainings in the future. And then the National Science Foundation and Lemelson EOP partnership is available kind of year-round through the Research on the Formation of Engineers program at the NSF. So take a look at that if you're looking for NSF funding. I'm not going to go into this. This is an example from one of the ASEE mini grant programs, but if anybody has questions about it, I can share it as an example. This is just the lovely bunch of logos from our direct support of grants and awards. There's a diverse group there. From that group, we've also awarded institutionalization grants. So those are the grantees for that program. And then these are the awardees for those first 5 awards from NSF. The ones with boxes are groups of schools that applied together. We also support the collaborations that I mentioned because no single organization or intervention can do this alone. And a way that we do that is through our EOP network, and folks are working on a variety of projects to really move things in the system. We've done other collaborations. One of our collaborators for a few years now has been Siemens Digital Technologies, and their collaborators in the UK on the Sustainability Toolkit. And there have been others, but I won't get into all of it, but happy to answer questions. We've provided thought partnership and shared information with a variety of different organizations, and we all help each other try to, accelerate changes as quickly as possible. And 4 ways that you can accelerate change include downloading the tools, use the tools, tell people about EOP. We're going to be revising the framework with community input next year. So let us know if you want to be part of that, and you can be recognized or not if you don't want to be, but you can be recognized publicly as a collaborator and listed on the Engineering for One Planet website. You can be a signatory and you can go in and actually put in a quote and talk about your own, personal commitment to the ideals of EOP and be featured on the website and oftentimes even in social media, LinkedIn. And then to get updates and opportunities, there's the quarterly newsletter, or for breaking news, the EOP LinkedIn page. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Cindy. And personally, I'm very grateful to EOP and Lemelson Foundation and VentureWell, because I took a workshop. It's called Infusing Sustainability into it wasn't engineering, it was curriculum, but that time it was COVID, so I took it, and Cindy Anderson was one of my teachers, along with Victoria Matthew. So from that, I came to know Engineering for One Planet. I was given a booklet, also a real booklet, besides the digital copies and so on, and have been following. And what really stayed with me for a long time, and it intrigues me, is that the combination of, you mentioned the 3 Ps, what we have for a sustainable development. One is the planet, what we do for a planet. One is the people, the societal aspects. And the other one is profit or prosperity. And that's where the entrepreneurship comes. That's where the innovation comes. And with that, I think at this time, I will ask Magdalene Lagudas, who is the executive director of the industry and nonprofit partnerships at Texas A&M College of Engineering. Magda, would you please share your slides and talk about the partnerships that you have done? And especially, I think you have an entrepreneurship program. Would you please like to talk about all these things?
Soma, can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
First of all, Cindy, I think you should take the whole time. I think you should talk about it, because it's going to be more interesting to anybody who is here than listening to me. I mean, I love what you do. I do hope to see some of our people, some of our faculty engaged with your programs. Soma, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, let me just say up front, we have an amazing group of faculty who are running an engineering entrepreneurship program here. My role and what I'm trying to do is I have been involved at the beginning with the program. We had some amazing collaborations. We launched some programs, and now we have a thriving ecosystem. I will focus more on the partnerships around it. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Magda Lagudas. I've been with Texas A&M for 30 years. In the first picture I put here, it's something that Cindy will appreciate, because during the time of 2010, 2011, every school, engineering school, was talking about how to introduce entrepreneurship in engineering. And there was a wonderful program that was supported by NSF. VentureWell was a partner, and it brought several schools together every year in this program, the Pathways to Innovation. And the focus was, can we share information? Can we share knowledge between faculty? What works on your campus may not work on ours, but knowing and learning from you will help us go faster where we want to go. So this is when our then dean said to me and a couple of other faculty, go out, learn things, and put our college on the map. Since then, we have come a long way. Jim Donnell and his group of faculty in the Malloy program are running an amazing set of courses, of programs that are the 48-hour activities, providing an incubator for the students to come together and learn, providing additional events like the event for the planet for any of you who might be interested to participate. Attracts lots of universities, 30 to 40 universities to participate. So where I wanted to focus is all of that is wonderful. In my role for partnerships, I wanted to see where do I bring additional input to engage other students who may not be currently involved, but they may get involved because they see the topic. So I participated in this collaboration and I led the effort to work with the National Security Innovation Network. And with my colleague, Rodney Bain, who retired now, we have taught this class that at the national level is called Hacking for Defense. We called it Innovate for Defense. The reason I like the class and the reason I wanted to bring it to our campus is because it provides students an opportunity to work on a project that somebody is giving them the problem. But it also, he or she is giving them a set of people from a network so that they can go out and validate the problem and then develop something. And if that something, if that minimum viable product has potential for intellectual property, they own everything. And then there is an opportunity for them to get funding from the National Security Innovation Network or their collaborators for the students to pursue that innovation. Whenever I think about entrepreneurship for our students, I think about they have their own ideas. They collaborate with our faculty on research, and they collaborate on university-funded research to pursue those, or somebody is giving them a problem. Somebody is giving them like what was happening with Innovate for Defense. So we run about 20-something projects with this particular group and also with the Homeland Security. So this was applying the skills of entrepreneurship, but not necessarily to raise revenue, but to accomplish a mission. The next thing that I went backwards. The next thing that I wanted to mention is this is currently going on for the last 3 years. I have been partnering with what is called ASEE-CIPD. This is a nonprofit organization in Houston. Their focus is to promote economic development, and their focus is to support small businesses in the state of Texas with various forms of assistance. So we launched this assistance where we take capstone teams and have them work directly with the entrepreneur or the small business. And while the focus is on the technical aspects, and the students in a period of 9 months, they are developing prototypes, analyzing, testing, they are now becoming aware of what it takes for this entrepreneur to take his idea and bring it into the market. So this is an indirect way of making our students aware of what is involved if you are going to take an innovation and bring it into the market. This has been going on for 3 years now. This current semester, we have 14 capstone projects this semester, and that will continue for next semester. And we are adding another 8 for next semester. So it has received significant interest from the various small businesses in Texas. I add here Noble Ridge, even though we have not done anything yet with them. We brought them to our campus, and I had the opportunity to interact with them and see a different way of utilizing the lean launch methodology and innovative approaches to not only accomplish the mission, but now make impact and serve the country and serve the public. So their focus is they are providing curriculum and they're providing projects for students to work, and those projects are associated with various forms of public service. It could be the federal, it could be the state, it could be the local government, but all of it is serving our community with our innovative approaches. So I'm excited to see they are looking for partnerships with universities. They have already established a couple. If there are any faculty from other schools who are interested in them, I encourage them to reach out and explore if what they offer fits into their own ecosystem. Now, I did want to mention that we have the curriculum, we have the programs, and we have obviously additional things which are things that are funded by the National Science Foundation. I was fortunate enough to be the PI for ASEE-CIPD, that we are on the very last semester of running it. We had 200 plus teams who went through the program. I feel very lucky to have seen so many students go through the process and the transformation that happens to them. Some of them really, really excited about what is the potential for the innovation, because now they understand through the customer discovery what it means to the various stakeholders and which one of them is the first adopter. And of course, I'm also part of our hub, the Southwest Hub. This is the $15 million hub that 8 schools are involved. And even though that is focused mostly on the faculty, my role is how do we use some of the things we do with them to engage students and impact students. And this is part of our Impact Launch Certificate. How do we take students through some short version of the customer discovery with 10 interviews and make them become aware of it's not only solving a solution, it is finding the impact you're making and how you're impacting those various stakeholders. Here, I wanted to put the KIN Foundation framework because I firmly believe we need to educate our students on those 3 components. I made a presentation yesterday to one of our classes, and this is a projects class. These are students are working with industry on projects. And the point I was trying to convey to them is somebody handed you a problem. You're an engineer, you understand the design requirements, you will develop a solution. And I would like you to think about the impact and what it means. The impact is not to me, to your faculty who will give you a grade. The impact is you're developing your robotic solution for elder people, people who have some kind of a mobility issue. Think about who are the people who are going to make the decision for that. Think about what other tools are in the market and why you are pursuing that, and is it worth it? But then the other thing that we usually don't think about in our design classes and what entrepreneurship is doing is encouraging our students to think about opportunities, finding opportunities, use your creativity to see where are problems that are worth pursuing and worth solving. So I'm a firm believer of the KIN Foundation, the opportunity, design, and impact. And my last slide is I wanted to share a success story from one of our students. So this is Haver Logan. He was a senior, came through the ASEE-CIPD program, went through with a blip biometrics. He wanted to be the PayPal for biometrics, finished, nothing happened. And then he took a job with JetBlue, and then COVID happened. He had a day off on a Friday. He said, what can I do? He launched the company. In 2023, he has 15 people in his company. He raised 8 million. And for me, this is a success. And it happens how we expose our students to this additional way of thinking beyond developing a perfect technical solution. So if I were to use what Cindy was saying, can we say it's opportunity, it's design, it's impact, and now we're going to add sustainability. Now we're going to say not only this, but also a sustainable solution. How can we bring this into our classes? I'm happy to say I have seen this group presenting to our class November 7th. So I have to admit that I am very green in this area. I'm trying to learn what's happening with sustainability, but I'm excited to see all the things that are out there. And I hope for us to start making some changes, at least in the classes that we impact. So that's all I had. Thank you. And I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Magda. I learned a lot. I tried to get all this information from the web, but I wasn't too successful because, when one explains in details, it's much better to absorb it. And it's much more understandable. Now, I do have some questions, and I also see that there are two questions were raised. One was from Yvonne and one was from Anthony, and they were answered in the chat. And there was another question. Linda answered also about the slides. So I do have some questions, but I also I want to say I can see that we have in the in the attendees. I think Yash was there, but he has left probably. Yash Tadimila. And I can see Maria Laura, she's there. Now, these two people, I have been very, very fortunate to have worked with these. Maria, your talking is permitted. If you have any question, just feel free to ask. And Yash, I think, has left, if I am not mistaken. I also see there are people from CIPD, so please feel free to ask questions, and we can unmute you, or you can write your question. So my first question, while they write the questions or tell me, hi, Shannon, I'm sure I will have something from you. I would like to ask Cindy, and this actually came from Shannon, that when we were preparing from this, Shannon O'Donnell is a Siemens Digital Industry Software, who were one of the contributors to the sustainability toolkit, which Cindy Cooper mentioned, and there you can find it. You can go through the Engineering for One Planet and find it also from there. And my first question is for Cindy. When the engineers go and work in the real job, what mindset? Very different kind of mindset from previous time, from my time, I would say, or from Magda's time, or any one of our times, they should have now, so that they can be successful. I would say, what are the most challenging mindset shifts the engineering students need to make to become more effective and more sustainability-focused inventors and entrepreneurs? Can you let us know?
Thanks, Soma. Yeah, it's such an important question. I think that was one of the things that we also were asking the community. So my answer does not reflect, Cindy Cooper, and in my thinking in isolation, it reflects conversations with industry, practicing engineers, right, and sustainability experts and inventors, all of those groups. And what came up time and time again, and you see reflected in the EOP framework, is systems thinking. The broader systems thinking. So not the factory floor system, but the broader community, the environment, and really kind of broadening the aperture of systems thinking, and that it's connected to everything else. So when when I show you that graphic with the 9 topic areas, they all surround systems thinking because it's all related, and it's such a fundamental part of being able to bring that sustainability mindset. And I would say that another way to answer this question is maybe less about students and whether they believe this, but I think actually they probably believe this less than kind of historically what we've seen in engineering. And that's the idea that the job of engineering is only technical, that engineering is amoral. I think today, younger people believe that engineering's broader impacts are equally important. So, we see that young people are attracted to engineering because they can have an impact. And we even see some research showing that this is attractive to people who have been underrepresented in engineering, right? So it creates that interest in engineering and the desire to be able to use those skills to take back to communities and make a difference.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. I mean, I have worked in both academia and industry, and it is true that I can see the changes happening in industry and even in US industries compared to European or UK industries, where sustainability mindset is essential. Also, it is good to know how we can connect the dots, connect the dots of, I mean, yes, we have to make profit or prosper as an industry, but at the same time, what good we can do. And the kids or the students, they actually have this mindset. They want to do good to the planet, they want to do good to the people, and they want to connect that with the profit side of the company. And that's what is very, it tells me that we are on the right path. So,
You're right. That's so important. So much. I think, just to comment on that I think we maybe, 5, 10, 15 years ago, for sure,
yeah,
saw a lot more trade-offs in some, let's say, energy transition activities than we see
yeah,
today. It's starting to flip, particularly with like green renewable energy, but in other places too. So the financial trade-offs in some places are in favor of sustainability. And then, this actually is one of the topics in the framework is being able to do that critical thinking and analyzing trade-offs and business, socially responsible business is one of the topics. So we talk about things like circularity and different ways of thinking about economics. Economics is evolving. That's also a place where there's a lot of new thinking about exactly what you're talking about. And then timelines, like, are we talking profit this quarter? Or are we talking about a year, 2, 5, 10 years down the road? The fact that these things are going to eventually catch up with us if we're not thinking about them now, we're going to suffer repercussions long-term financially.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With another question to Magda, I think I will open it to the people whose talking is permitted, such as Maria Laura, Nelson Granda, and Shannon. So I have a question for Magda. Looking ahead, what are the biggest opportunities and challenges you foresee in preparing future engineers to be at the same time both sustainability minded and at this another way the entrepreneurial minded in their approach to problem solving, for which engineers are known? So what should we do? And what are the opportunities and what are the challenges also you see? You teach also as well as you are an administrator and associated with the projects, the mission project and others. So,
well, that's $1 million question, Soma. I don't have an answer. I think the challenge obviously is we would like our students to know all of that. The challenge is the curriculum.
yeah.
We want the students to get out with 120 something credit hours. So this is a challenge. But I firmly believe that if we have enough people at an institution who are interested to take the topic of sustainability and weave it into the curriculum, we start from there. I see that with entrepreneurship. When we went through the pathways, we had one course in the College of Engineering that used the word entrepreneurship, and that was in biomedical engineering.
Yeah.
There were plenty of courses in the business school, but not in the College of Engineering. And now Jim Donnell and his team have an amazing set of courses. We have a minor. I think it is buying in from the leadership of the institution, finding the faculty who are interested to pursue this, start from there. I think it's going to happen. I think I see so many changes in engineering education, and I think it's going to happen. The work that Cindy is doing, I had to come to this meeting to see that we have a team, Rally's Engineering Academies, who apparently are part of what Cindy is doing. I am going to go and find out what exactly they have done. I love it. So it will happen. But let's turn it over to the people who are who might have questions before we run out of time. Thank you so much.
for giving such a profound answer. Maria Laura, Shannon, and Nelson, what question you have? And Anthony.
Well, this is Shannon, and I want to start by saying thank you both to Cindy and Magda for doing this wonderful presentation and introducing us to some new concepts. You know, when I was listening to Cindy talk about 2017 being when this initially kicked off in concept and execution, it made me wonder, Cindy, have you been hearing anything from alumni from the program, from university perspectives, and what have been some of the outstanding responses that you've heard from learners who have entered industry, if you've seen that connection? And Magda, it's kind of the same question for you as well, especially with the entrepreneurship mindset. I would assume sustainability and environmental causes would be largely ignited in an entrepreneurship program. So curious to hear from both of you on that.
So I'll start, since you started with me. Thank you, Shannon, and thank you so much for bringing me into the fold here. I love your question. And the 2017 timeline is when we first started asking the question. We didn't launch the pilots until 2020. So really, we're really early in terms of being able to say student impact, you know, in industry. That said, it makes me think of an example that is, I think, super cool, which is working with Villanova University. Villanova University was a pilot grantee, and then we've provided them with follow-on, like, continuation grant funding for work they're doing this year to develop faculty workshops and faculty training. And then they're also creating a report on kind of best practices, how to institutionalize, you know, expanding the footprint of sustainability in an institution more broadly. In their work in developing faculty training, they've also been talking to industry a lot. And they bring students in to all of these projects. And the students have had an incredibly important role to play in helping to further these types of projects within Villanova, and then in their collaborations with industry. So industry is interested in upskilling of current employees, hiring folks with these skills, but also rapidly upskilling current employees. And it's been awesome to see students who have taken these courses being advisors in projects that have to do with bringing the content to practicing engineers. And I see that with projects as well, you know, when you have capstone or internship projects where the students can actually be educating practicing engineers who didn't have these opportunities when they were in school. So we're starting to see some of those kinds of things.
That's incredible. That takes reverse mentoring to a whole new level.
Yeah, I love it.
Magda, do you want to add anything?
I think shortly, the only thing that I will add at this, I think, Shannon, this is a great question. Where we see the impact, I don't know exactly what happens when they go to industry. I don't have a specific example, but what I see, I run the engineering project showcase where we have 300 or so teams who showcase capstone projects to industry. And I hear from industry what they like, and I hear how they see our students being able to articulate the impact they are making with the solution, which is usually we focus too much on our technical aspects. And now I think with everything that the group of Jim Donnell's and the Malloy group is doing, now I think we are seeing students who are thinking beyond the technical solution. So it's happening. On the other hand, I think I'm excited when I see freshmen who walk in and say, what do you have for me? I have this UAB activity that I'm doing and I want to do something about it. So this definitely will have an impact, and we will see it in the future years. So I'm excited about our future because of what I see on those students.
Thank you so much. Can I ask if Maria Laura has a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank
Maria?
you. I was just about to raise my hand, so thank you, Dr. Soma. And thank you both, Magda and Cindy. This has been a really insightful session. And I want to bounce off what you have said previously about those aspects that go beyond the technicalities or the technical skills in sustainability. And that is the really strong ethical aspect that is also part of sustainable mindset. And so I'm curious to know how you see that being taught in the courses that you teach, whether that is really explicit or rather it's more embedded in the type of teaching or methodologies or the topics that are being taught surrounding sustainability. So that ethical aspect and how that shows in the programs and then in what the students learn.
Cindy, I
Cindy?
think that goes directly to Cindy. I'm going to turn it over.
Yeah, and again, this is something where we're not prescriptive, right? So we're creating tools, and the different faculty bring it into their courses in a variety of ways, but ethics shows up in the EOP framework learning outcomes. And I think, again, it's kind of like what I said about social and environmental topics. These aren't distinct from each other. You know, if you are having social impact that is negative in particular, well, then those are some ethical concerns you need to weigh. And sometimes it's about this ability to analyze trade-offs. Perhaps what is of high positive impact for one creates a negative for another. And these are gray areas. These are kind of in the category of wicked problems. It's being able to think about it, analyze it, work with the community. It's a way of doing the engineering as opposed to having black and white answers. Ethics is obviously a gray area. So I think that having that comprehensive, holistic way of looking at things, having the systems thinking and learning about this in an explicit way is what the engineers bring into it and what we see our faculty teaching students, in addition to, specific ethics cases and scenarios.
The only thing that I will add, if I may, is that I think we as a College of Engineering have a series of curricular activities where ethics is the topic that all engineering students have to go through. Some of them take a whole class for a whole semesters, and others take it through the courses. But obviously, it's an important issue. For those of you who are interested, there are some ethics competitions like the Lockheed Martin competition that I think raises awareness about not only the technical, not only the financial aspects, but the ethical aspects are important.
Thank you so much. I'll quickly go to Nelson. And if it is okay with Linda Thurman, can we get the questions answered, or what is the situation? Can I know?
Sure. So I have to run to another meeting. I'm so sorry, but if you want to be co-host, want to run it, it's all yours. We just want to make sure we stop the recording at some point when you're done, so it can formally, be available to everybody. But thank you all so much. I'm just going to keep everything that is on my side, and you all can run it. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Of course, but please keep going. Keep the discussions going. Wonderful.
Okay, I have another 5 minutes, so I think we can have as many questions as possible in 5 minutes. And if you have any question that is not being answered, please write it here so that we can directly answer to you by email. So Nelson.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much. I like I mentioned, I've been with AOP for quite some time now. I'm just learning a little bit more. I'm always learning. I love it. Looking for how other institutions are using it and what other collaborations can be evolved from what it is currently happening. During the last few years, things have changed substantially. So always interested in learning what other opportunities are there for improving the education of engineering. And from my side, I'm in North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, but I am not in the College of Engineering anymore. So I am in the College of Science and Technology, focusing on the technology side of students. which is giving a little bit of a challenge, but at the same time, opportunity to increase or involve the EOP framework in non-engineering courses, which is something I'm trying to start moving here, like basic chemistry or biology or some other non-engineering courses, but all engineers need to take those courses. So those are things that I'm trying to involve in here. But I'm always interested in keep learning more. And thank you, Cindy. You're always great. And thank you, Dr. Labudas and Charkaprati, for this webinar. Has been very, very interesting.
Thank you, Nelson.
Thanks, Nelson.
How about Lisa Witt? You have any question? Lila Carden?
I think Anthony may have had a question somehow. I thought he had.
Anthony?
Yes, thank you, Prof. And Ms. Cindy and Magda for such informative presentation. And I'm from Morgan State University. I teach engineering physics students, other scientists. And your slide on the EOP, the metrics, you have a picture of a tree there, and I can certainly see it's not sequoia. And this one is spreading its fibrous roots all over because either it has found a granitic rock formation underneath, they cannot tap through the granite. And I'm very keen to find out how you have been dealing with all this, and your top-down and up-down model captures quite a bit. So I've given you my email. We'll talk some more on how we can get involved with my colleagues, because we are finding very interesting scenarios. And if you are going to talk about engineers becoming a part of the planet and becoming cognizant that we are all one, and we need to take care of the planet, then we need to start changing some mindsets. And the faculty and the students, and what we have been seeing is students are coming with very many issues from home. That's why we are calling Homefront, and it's something we'd like to share with you and also learn from you. Thank you and keep up the good job. And of course, we'll continue supporting ASEE, and we have a couple of presentations coming. So we want to make sure that engineering education becomes part and the parcel. And if we can share curricula to improve on some of the things you are seeing in the society, we would appreciate it. Thank you and keep up the good job.
Thank you.
So
Beautifully said. Sorry, Selma. That was just, yeah, good
No.
point. I'll follow up.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Is there anyone who has a pressing question? We should be then asking the last question. Andy or Adria, Elizabeth? Okay, I guess I think all the questions have asked, but there will be more questions. And I think Cindy has given an email address, info@engineeringforoneplanet.org. Please feel free to ask questions there. And please do see the websites that Cindy Anderson had mentioned, because there's so much resources from that. You can really learn a lot, and I have learned a lot from there. I want to take this opportunity to thank Cindy Cooper and Magda Lagudas for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom and experiences and all the information that you have. Appreciate it, and a recording will be shared with all those who have registered. So if you want to look at it again, please do look at it. I also want to thank Cindy Anderson for being such a great colleague who wrote down all the information, the most pertinent information. Thank you so much, Cindy A, as I would call, and Linda Thurman, who has just left. I want to thank her so very much, and all those who had questions, who had commented, and thank you all for coming and attending this. It was a great pleasure. We do hope to see you at the college industry and not the Conference for Industry and Education Collaboration. It's CIAC 2025, and it will be Henderson, Nevada, February 5th to 7th, 2025. And please do let us know how we can send you more information. And at the very end, I'm going to share the information what we have for the conference, and you can scan the code. And with that, I will end this. I think, do you see the code, or do you see? No, stop
I see
share.
the page.
Yeah,
the
a
code.
page, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
share,
was there and it disappeared.
yeah. Now you should see again, right?
Yes, it's there.
Yeah, and there is a code which I will just enlarge.
Okay.
Okay, and there is a little bit information about the CIPD technical sessions we are going to have. So please join us, and it's at the code will take you to the web page where you will find all the information, and then we keep on updating with the latest information. So this is what we have. Again, thank you so very much. I will stop sharing and then stop the recording so that the recording is available. Stop cloud recording.